Over.
Any stations net, this is Charlie on 41.0, radio check, over.
Charlie, this is 1-1, I read you Lima, Charlie, over.
Roger, out.
And we're in a different radio group now.
Net, this is Alpha requesting radio check.
Oh, okay.
Alpha, this is 1-1, read you Lima, Charlie on 4-1, over.
Charlie, this is Walsh.
Roger.
Radio check.
So you missed the memo last night. We were all instructed that we don't say Lima Charlie. We just said Lima.
Yeah, I was just about to tell you about that.
I was gonna walk over and say this.
I read you Lima Charlie on 41.6, over.
Wait, don't what? I don't read you loud and clear? I don't need to tell you that I read you 5x5? What if I don't read you 5x5?
You're going to say radio check.
Roger over now.
Captain Drumheller did say you can still use 5x5, but we don't use Lima Charlie, we just do Roger and then out.
Petrowski, this is Wood.
You don't have to say Roger or anything, just this is me, radio check on this frequency.
It's for both, so I would say, station is net, this is Mike, on 4-1, request radio check, over, and you would say,
all good.
Mike, this is 1-1, Roger, over. And then I would say Roger.
I'm just saying Roger to your request.
Yes, he said that Roger is.
So if you came up to me and you said I'm requesting some ketchup for my hot dog, I just go Roger and then walk off. I mean,
okay. Roger over and hand him the ketchup.
Yeah. I'm not the most familiar with military lingo, but Captain John Miller last night said that Roger is the equivalent of saying loud and clear.
Are they changing that? Did they say if they're changing that in OSUT as well? Because in OSUT, they're definitely teaching everybody to
apparently it's been
how they read them.
Staff Sergeant May has been made aware.
Yeah, it's been something that's come up I think the last 2 weeks. It's been talked about.
Okay, all right, good deal. Thanks for the heads up.
Charlie Davila requesting radio check on Freak 416.
And Martin,
no, none of you are going to get
forgot that last word.
Name to reflect
over.
Your permission.
This is Charlie. I got you, Lima Charlie, 1.6, over.
I got the team.
Hey, Specialist Piotrowski, get with your team lead about your kit there.
Oh no, is it the same one? I can already see it from here.
Hop down to the Havoc 1-1 squad so we can set up armbands.
It didn't save correctly. You're still wearing the MC pants rather than
we still got 4 minutes.
Copy that. I'm on it.
Yeah.
We lose boss.
You was around
on TeamSpeak.
He wasn't on TeamSpeak.
Negative. You should be in on TeamSpeak on the in-game squad.
Assuming that there's the ocean.
Martin. Cheers, yeah. Catch my last.
Yeah, I changed my name.
Negative.
He did change it. I saw it come up on the top, but it didn't change for me either. That's weird. I wonder if you have to log in and log back out.
You still have to write set name first.
You doing well, still kind of in your own thing.
All right, Charlie, make sure you guys get in the right group.
A-firm, working on it.
Where is...
I'm sorry, I'm almost finished.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, that's our Anthem.
There you go.
Team leads, this is Mike. Just make sure anyone in your team that still needs
51 kilograms, correct?
CLS gets with me before end of night break. I'm tracking should be Private Davila and Private Wallace. If there are any others, let me know. Mike out.
Hey, for on that 51.
And that also has a CLS.
You guys hear that?
I think that was the only other change.
Yep, I heard
Davila and Wallace.
I got CLS.
Just get with Mike.
Perfect.
Or CLS.
Yep.
Sergeant Anthem, is there a net that we need to be on together?
Yep. Pants, shirt.
You have one already established?
For CLS.
Wait. Nope, you're good.
You already got it.
We can probably use
I don't think I got 4.
Excellent.
Alright, that'll work.
1 to 4, no?
I'll check.
So, Steph Sergeant?
No, CLS is medical.
You're
thinking of WLC.
Combat leadership. Oh, yeah.
Alpha, this is EO on 41.2, requesting radio check. Roger.
Yeah, just disregard that. That's for Wallace and the Villa.
Copy.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
You joined
Say,
the wrong one. You gotta go down to Havoc 1-1.
Whoa! You're like a ghost.
Alright, I'm back.
Which I don't know how you're carrying the AR after all.
Sorry, hang on, I'm doing two things at once. Give me one more second, my bad.
I'm just being a shepherd.
You weren't behind me, and then you were behind me.
Yeah, it was.
And just change over your armband there.
I'm just everywhere. Alpha, this was Lawson, requesting radio check on 41.2 over.
Roger, over.
Oh my god.
Future reference, it's Roger out.
What do you mean?
You can say Tango Mike out.
Miller made a big friggin' deal about it yesterday.
I think
The Tango Mike out isn't what he's making.
You don't have a backpack.
Charlie.
No, but he specifically said it's
Also,
Roger
do you
over,
have
Roger
a
out.
radio?
Well, the backpack is that
Wait, what?
modular,
So I can't say Tango Mike?
Yeah, so if you go
I mean, I guess you can. We can say anything we want,
you can
but
put in the
I'm just saying what Drum said yesterday.
Yeah. You made a big fuss yesterday over it. Also, I took your AR yesterday, so...
Back panel setup 1, multicam.
The thing...
Yeah, it'll be this one I have.
The big thing he was on a crusade about was Lima Charlie.
It's one that most of us
As long as you don't say Lima Charlie, you say Roger over instead.
Can I say have you 5x5? Or 1x5?
Okay. You know, I don't think that he wasn't as negative against that.
With the exception of I believe medics can
say 1x5, 2x5, 3x5, 4x5, 5x4, 5x3, 5x2, 5x1. 4x, a combination besides.
Nifty.
I like to build a little fun spot.
How's that? Better?
Just no Lima Charlie, really, is what he was getting at.
Okay, so just don't say Lima Charlie. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Alright,
Alpha, this is Ren. Requesting radio check 4.2, over.
Yeah, you gotta customize the radio
let me know at the
patch.
end. Other than that, I'll let you
Roger.
What is it called?
Roger, out.
The trellis wire.
I got it now.
Okay,
Yeah,
it was just in my
Giving
backpack.
everybody a few extra minutes because they had
I
built
need you
kits
to hop
and
over to Havoc 1-1.
Yeah,
in
copy
game.
that.
Into that squad.
Same teams as
I'm gonna
last
put
night.
myself in a fun spot. Just watch.
Also, join
is
up
it still
on our
doing
Force
that
group.
thing with
Awesome.
Game Master voice?
And then set up your
Stack 'em on
shine
mine.
real quick.
It's not doing it right now, right?
Are you in? Or no? Are you like actually? Like, hold down Y. Are you in it?
Oh no, I don't talk in that
And then
ever.
give me a
Because
radio
that's what
check.
does it.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
For some reason I can't join the group, so...
Even on the radio.
Make a new one and then try to join again. Make a new one.
The radio that way.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I always talk in character on
Here you
radio
go.
now because of that problem.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that like a bug or something?
Yeah, that's just the thing. I had it happen
Stations
earlier.
this net, requesting radio check for Wallace on 41.6 over.
Copy all Bravo. Over.
Wallace, I have you Lima Charlie on 41.6
Well, this
over.
is Alpha. We are also.
Roger out.
Copy that Alpha. Over.
I guess the boys are back in town.
So you got a radio, you got a map, compass, you have your 10 bandages.
Oh, I need bandages.
Yep.
I now have 2 boxes for you.
iPro.
Sergeant.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Everybody read that right there.
You gotta scroll down.
Hello.
Yeah, it's not
I know.
attached to the weapon at the at the helmet.
I adore my baby son, and my baby son.
Wait, what happened?
He adores you.
He adores you.
Gotcha.
Alright, Mike.
A lot of new names.
I'm gonna be flowing you in with like attaching you at random to teams as we go through.
Okay.
On the first part, it's gonna be doing the glass house stuff, so I'm just gonna use 4 guys for that one.
Okay.
So,
I don't think so, no.
Actually, you know what?
We now have the new ability to.
Well, Stabila, you guys got map compass,
CQB didn't.
band-aids.
Okay.
What'd you say?
It's CQB.
So in your settings,
Good stuff.
there is
exactly as you inspected last time. So if I don't have it, I know who to blame.
Everybody got their equipment.
Well, hopefully you guys know what you need
Your
there.
smokes, your flashes,
We don't
your
have to do
nades.
this every time.
You know what? I think you're both
Those
missing
are
your
the big ones
NVG
that
now
people
on
forget.
your helmet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when you're in a rush.
I
like
am.
I was last time.
So am I. I'm also missing my NVGs, period.
Yep.
Well, you definitely missed those, but you gotta take them out.
Kit's good to go. Should be able to flow into stuff.
I need to be at
Got mine on,
51
following the
kilograms,
rules.
We
correct?
are 51, yeah, that's correct. We are solid.
Perfect.
1-1.
There's a rule.
It's
Yeah,
SOP.
You said still waiting on one?
No, we're solid.
What a silly
okay.
ordinary
Just, yeah.
practice.
Last minute
Sounds
tweaks.
Zach.
Just polluting over here. Hey, all this stuff on the ground.
Yeah, I wanted to carry that trench tool, but nope, couldn't do it.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Just carry as much ammo as you can.
I really don't want to get into the
Oh yeah, we
arsenal.
got a lot of ammo.
Here, Theo.
I also have 2
I
extra
shall,
boxes for
hang
you.
on.
Thank you for that.
Martin, how many
Okay, just
Oh, your
drop
mic.
it.
Yeah.
Rand, do you have a box on me?
smoke grenades?
Yeah, I have a box right here. I'll just grab one. Hang on.
Bravo, Charlie, let's go.
Alpha, you got a box on me?
Just here, switch helmet. Switch helmet. Just switch helmet real quick.
Golly. I
Alpha,
reported
you
you
got a box
already.
on me?
I got 2 boxes.
Perfect.
Thank you, Ren.
Yeah.
All right. First off, everybody needs to be conditioned for, I assume during your PCIs, it's training environment. Your team lead should have taken care of that. Everybody except for the team leads and Mike, go up those ramps and stand up on the Connex boxes. You might want to go up to the highest bit that you can get to. And team leads, Mike, come over here with me. All right. Can y'all hear me over there?
A firm.
Hey, firm.
All right, good. All right. Tonight we're going to be going over CQB fundamentals. Some of you possibly have already gone through this course with me before, but we have a lot of new faces in the squad, so it's important that we're all on the same page with 506 standard operating procedure for CQB. There's going to be some things you're going to see tonight that you may want to expand upon in your team trainings or do more advanced iterations of later on, but for now we're touching on the fundamentals, make sure everybody's got a baseline competency in the same thing. What we're going to do first is talk about basic movement formation that is very useful and commonly used in CQB. Just like when we're not doing CQB, we're always in some form of formation. So it's important that you make sure you're not just lollygagging while going through a hallway or anything. There's a purpose. The reason why we do a formation, even going down hallways, is because of danger areas. It's ensuring that we have, guns facing, all directions at all times, covering as much as possible. All right, so team leads, Mike, I got you here as the more experienced guys of the squad. What we're going to do is we're going to practice a rolling T. You're going to stack where I am here. We're going to, this area, if you want to stand up on the sandbags, you got to get a look at it. It's basically like a hallway. The T ends down here. So you can treat that just as a door right there, that corner fed. But the T-shaped hallway ends down here at the end. So your goal is you are going to stack up. Now, it's important to note that when you're stacking, ideally you would have your rifleman and then your team leader, then your grenadier, and then lastly, covering the 6, you would have your AR, automatic rifleman. That is the ideal stack, according to 506 SOP. However, in emergency situations or when you're clearing rapidly through a lot of locations, what very often happens is Murphy's Law takes place, and that plan goes out the window immediately. So sometimes you even mix up teams. A team might have a member from someone else attached to them, so you might have a fifth or even a sixth man in your stack, depending on the needs of the environment that you're clearing. So for tonight's purposes, we are going to use the ideal stack so that we get used to doing it the right way. That way we can adapt if we need to later on. But just know that the AR being on the 6 is usually the best just because, he's got the big old honking gun. If for any reason the medic is in the stack with you, which does happen, we don't want him being the point, so the lead man or the rear man. And the reason why we don't want him in on the 6 is because at any point that you have to about face in any area, he now becomes the point man. So we want to make sure he's right in the middle, nice and safe, and able to take care of. Preferably, he's would be number 3. If you have 5 people, he'd be number 4 in the stack. That'd be a good spot for him. All right, so we're gonna do it like this. Private Courier, you're gonna be the rifleman in this scenario. Corporal Wynn, you will be the team leader. Private Brian, you will be the grenadier. And then Specialist McFalls, you will be the AR. So just pretend you're carrying a lot more shit than you are. All right, so this would be your stack. So the roles of the point man. Point man has a very, very important job. He is effectively Bob Ross of the stack. He is painting the picture for everybody so that they know the beautiful landscape or bedroom, if you will, that you are about to go in and absolutely fuck up. So he needs to go into the front of the stack and talk a lot. He's going to call the stack in terms of when he is stacked, he will call one stacked. Yes. And then you would do
2 stacked.
3 stacked.
4 stacked, last man.
Yeah. Or you can also say last man stacked, just for brevity's sake. So first stack, second, third, last man stacked. So last man stacked is a very important one. You don't want to just call 4 stacked and then leave it at that. You want to make sure you call last man stacked because that lets the point man know, who is obviously not looking behind him. He has an extremely important job. He knows now that the last man's there, everybody's ready, and he can proceed. All right. Give me just a moment. All right. When we go in and breach this, so now that you have what the stack looks like, when we go in and breach this, the point after the stack is going to be going into what's called a rolling T. There's 2 general formations that you can use when you are moving down a hallway, and it is serpentine and rolling T. Now, we'll get into exactly what those look like in just a moment, but just so the guys here know what they're going to be doing once they go around the corner that they're stacked on. So we'll go down real quick, we'll go through the purposes of each, or the duties of each person in the stack. So we'll start at the rear here. So the guy in the rear is usually the AR. He's got the big gun. We put him in the back because his gun's a bit longer. It's not quite as maneuverable around corners, not quite as nimble. Has good rear security, because he can lay down a lot of hate. So his job is pretty simple, keep the rear clear, move along with the team. Think of it like a security element. You have the number 3 man who is the grenadier. So everybody would be facing, you have the number 6, the rear guy who's facing the 6, so he's the 6 o'clock. Then you got the point man at the 12 o'clock. So the 2 and the 3 man in the stack are facing 45 degrees out from each respective person to them. So, Corporal Wynn, if you would get your gun facing out where you should be facing. Right. So he's not facing perfectly 90 degrees out at me. He's covering the shoulder of his buddy in the stack in front of him. And then Private Brian here is also not pointing directly out at me. He's covering the shoulder of the guy in the rear. Now, these two guys in the middle, they have outward security because the rear and the point man, they don't have the luxury of looking around anywhere. They have their sector. Their sector is directly in front if they're the point man, directly behind if they're the man at the rear of the stack. All right, when we go into a rolling T, let me go ahead and get we'll just pretend this is the T right here so they can see it from this angle. So let me go ahead and you'll have your rifleman right where you are, and then the team leader would be in the middle, slightly behind. Now the grenadier, you would be over here. So you would be in line with the point man on the left, and then the auto rifleman, the guy covering the 6, whoever that may be, they're covering the rear. So everybody can see how this looks, right? So you got a man covering the rear, you got a man covering the front, and then you have the left and right guy, the number 1 and number 3 guys. They're actually covering inverse. So they're not looking, the left guy is not looking to the left, he's actually looking to the right, because that keeps his left shoulder covered from the exposed area over there. So he's covering this guy. And likewise, that guy is covering this guy. And then the team leader's in the middle, effectively directing travel and calling which doors they're going to stack on and how they're going to split it and do things like that. So that is the roles and duties of everybody in the stack. Is anybody unclear? Do you need a bit of a refresher on that? Is anybody not sure what you're supposed to do in the stack? All right. Silence is good, I hope. I'll expect everybody to be perfect at it. All right. Go ahead and form a stack with your call-outs and everything. So the point man or the team leader is going to call stack up, and then point man will start with the count off.
Stack off, left side.
1 set. 2 set. Or 3 set.
Last man set.
There you go. So that's how a stack up happens. Your team leader is going to call the stack, and then your point man's going to initiate the count. All right, so we're going to go ahead and come around this corner and do the rolling T, and then we'll do a serpentine after that to demonstrate what that looks like as well.
Do you want Curry to do the description?
Yes.
Describe.
Yep, that is the job of the point man. The point man is describing, like I said, Bob Ross, he's painting the picture. He's describing everything to his team so that they're aware of what they're walking into. If there's danger areas, it is his job as the point man, and this could be anybody. So everybody needs to know to do this. If you are the point man, it is your job to start describing what's going on. I got a door left, window right, hallway, T intersection, or if it splits into a T like this one does, or whatever it may be. So these things need to be called out as you're moving. All right, go ahead, execute.
I had a quick question, Sergeant Rouse.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
Is there I've been led to understand that there is a particular movement technique to transitioning to the rolling T. Are you aware of that? Is that something we're going to do? Or do we just kind of go to our plate?
Yeah, I'm trying to just get them to see what it looks like to be into the rolling T. But basically, if you were going to go into the rolling T, the way we do CQB when we're breaching anything, even if it's just a hallway, is you effectively alternate. So the point man would go in and he would button hook and go left. He's facing that way. The number 2 man would come around, so he has cover on there, and he would come around and assume his position. So then number 3 would come around and, very importantly, go behind the other elements and assume his position on line with the point man. We'll just stay standing for this. I'll go crouch. All right, and then the rear element guy covering the 6, he would come in and hold rear security. Now, if they're not moving down the hallway yet, say they call a halt in the hallway like this, Specialist McFalls is doing correct, right? Because let's for the sake of training, let's pretend that this isn't an opening here, okay? Let's just say that this is a flat wall. We know it's safe. So Specialist McFalls, being the rear element, he is pointing towards the last known area, the last known open area, right? The last danger area. But once the movement begins and he has the space to assume his position and something to cover, he would come back here to where I'm standing, you know, and move along with the element, keeping proper spacing as so. All right. So from here, what you're going to do is you're going to go down to the end. You're not going to have to, you know, cross that hallway or anything. We'll get into, you know, opening onto hallways and direction of travel and all in a moment. So just travel to the end of the hallway. Go ahead and execute.
All right, team, moving down southwest.
So we should be calling, you know, door left, you know, intersection coming up.
Okay, yeah, T intersection coming up.
Got a hallway both ways.
All right, team halt.
So it's very important to note that the point man, you know, he's supposed to be calling stuff out, but if other people see things from their point of view that he cannot see from his, you know, communication goes all over the place. So you want to make sure everyone's contributing. You know, he is the point man, but in a rolling T, he can only see certain things, right? So he's not going to be able to see, you know, anything obviously behind him, or in this case, he can't see to his left. So it would be on Private Brian here to make sure that he's calling out whatever's to the left. Say he sees a, you know, hallway to the left, but he sees a door right where I'm standing. You know, he would be responsible for also calling that. So in the rolling T, you effectively have 2 point men. That's why you have the team leader in the middle. He's guiding the, you know, making sure he calls out if they're going to halt, if they're going to clear left, they're going to clear right, however they're going to do it. So this is a rolling T. All right, go ahead and get back to your stack, and now we're going to go over a serpentine real fast. Serpentine is a valuable formation, especially in, we'll say, longer hallways that have longer sight lines, and shorter hallways. A rolling T is more beneficial typically, but I'd say about 95% of the time you're going to utilize a rolling T. That'll be what the call is. That'll be what you're using. But it's important to know what a serpentine is in case you do need to use it. All right, so serpentine is effectively the only thing really changing. The guy in the rear is not changing anything. So last man in stack, he doesn't change a thing. He's holding the same position. The main difference here is that you're going to have the team leader is now going to be, instead of in the middle, he'll be off on the left side. So go ahead and stand here, Corporal Wynn. Just go ahead and stand as if you were. So it's kind of like a rolling T, but it's inversed a little bit. But the barrels are all facing the same direction. It's all about where the team leader moves. So then Private Courier, if you'd go ahead and move. So he's still point man, so you would be slightly ahead of him. So just go ahead and get slightly ahead. So it's going to look like the head of a snake, right? You got the triangle part at the front, and then you got the body coming out the back. So Specialist McFalls, I'll go ahead and scoot down a little bit so you can fit. So it's not quite a diamond because the guy in the rear is going to give the guys up front a bit more space. He's going to stand right in the middle, and he's looking towards the rear. Now, we're going to get into, when we clear rooms soon, we're going to get into talking about how we don't cross the openings of rooms. And that may seem contradictory, and I just want to explain. We have, you know, a hallway is not something you're necessarily, you know, clearing like you would a room. You're traveling down it to get to the rooms. So that is why we still have people in the middle. This has the most amount of guns up front where the danger areas are, while still having sufficient coverage to the rear. Either of these methods or these formations of travel are sufficient. If you were to have, say, a fifth guy in your formation, you could put him right in the middle. You could also swap it with the team lead. So the team lead could go to the middle, and whoever the fifth guy is could just swap with him. And so the team lead could lead from the center. But you see, as it is right here, if everybody needs, you know, if a guy comes out to the room on the left, you have someone still covering on the right, while the point man and the team leader are able to cover that opening on the left as they cross by. All right. So let's go ahead and stack up, do all the proper calls, and we're going to do a serpentine down to the T intersection and then hold.
Okay, 1 set.
Team set, stack up on the left.
1 set.
2 set.
3 set.
Last man set.
Pieing it off. I got a hallway, wide hallway, terminates at a T intersection. I have a doorway on the left side, halfway down the hallway.
Roger that. Team Serpentine, left, go. All right, all set. Move forward.
Move. Approaching the end of the hallway.
Team all.
All right, very good. So a reason why they call it the rolling T is because very often you'll have a hallway that looks like the shape of a T like this. If you look at the body is where they are and, you know, the top part going out here. So you'd use a rolling T even if you're in a serpentine, you would roll into the T. So where they're at is effectively where they would stop and roll into the T. Now, one thing here to note is that the number 3 man would be online with the team leader in this. And that way, and the reason why is because when they come up to this opening here, it's so that he can properly cover his angle when he goes to roll into the T. Can y'all still hear me pretty good over there? I know the water kicking up pretty good behind me, but all right. So in a rolling T, you would basically just switch these positions. So you would roll right into the T that you just did. So the team leader would simply push up, and then you would have it cross coverage like that. Exactly like this. So that's what you would do when you come up to an intersection. So if you were in a serpentine, when you come up to an intersection like this, you need to roll into the T formation. The serpentine formation is not effective once you are at an intersection like this because you can't cross cover because you only have one guy on point. So while you're moving down, the team leader would call rolling T, and then everybody would roll into that formation. That's why it's called rolling T, because you roll into it from serpentine. However, it's very much possible to just simply start off in the rolling T. You just say T formation or rolling T. You know, everybody will know what you're talking about when you say T or rolling T. All right, so that is how we go down a hallway. Real quick, we're going to go over, well, let's say we want to go through this hallway and we want to go to the left. So this is no different really than a road, you know, or say that you were, you know, you're doing, you have like an alleyway. Treat this as an alleyway rather than, you know, and these are buildings, you know, 2-story buildings on either side. It'd be no different. So it's a danger crossing, right? So you're going to have to set up a danger crossing. So Corporal Wynn, what y'all would do is in synchrony with each other is each person would punch out left and right. So Private Brian, you would punch out to the right and button hook that corner just as so. Corporal Wynn would go left, not exposing the body though. You want to stay behind the corner. Yeah, so just as Private Brian has done. So then the next man would come over, and in this case, you know, the team leader, he's already called, hey, we're going to go and clear left. You know, we're not going right. We're going to go left first. We want to clear left first. So then Private Courier, you would push out and go to the right. Let me get out of your way real quick. There you go. And then Specialist McFalls would punch out and go to the right, just behind Private Courier. So you see this is no different than a 4-point danger crossing if you were on a road or anything else. So what I want y'all to get in the habit of doing is looking at CQB, looking at mount, and looking at general movement even in a field really all the same. Because it is very similar. I mean, the formations you're going to use to roll into a danger crossing are the same. If this was just a road and you're doing a 4-point danger crossing like this and you wanted to open a corridor in the middle for people to pass, you do it the exact same way. All right, so in order to punch out and go left, Corporal Wynn would then move up, Private Courier would move up, and then, you know, you would call it, and then everybody would fall in. So the guy on the 6, he could keep focusing the 6. This is what I'm talking about. Positions will change as you're moving. So now, who was the number 3 guy is going to be standing where the team leader used to be. So depending on what kind of eyes you have on the objective in front of you, at any point you may have to give those calls. If the team leader, who's now where the point man used to be, this is a rolling T, if he doesn't have good eyes on a door that you may say it's, one of those doors where it's kind of pushed in, a little bit. There's a bit of a foyer before you walk into it. Maybe he can't see that from his perspective, but Private Brian, who is now in the team leader's position, if he can, his job is still to call that. So we're going to, you would say stack left or stack right. But that is how you transition from a rolling T into crossing over into a hallway to start traveling down the next side of the hallway. So you'd go down, clear all the rooms down this way. And then as you come out of the room, you'd perform the same maneuver, but in reverse. You'd come down this way, and you'd do the same, well, off with the dolphins over there. So is everybody of the understanding how this works? Anybody unclear of how this happens? If you are, ask questions now, because you're all about to do this yourself.
I have a question.
Private Brian, send it.
Thank you, Sergeant. So when we start moving up a hallway, say we have this hallway to my left, there was a room as we were moving, we had a room on the left, correct? And how would we then break people off? Would that just be on the guy on the left and the guy in the middle would break off and the guy on the right would continue holding security forward? Is that how we would do that, or would we stack on every door?
Well, it really depends on the door you're in. When you're in a building, it's usually pretty intuitive to find out, are these bedroom size, rooms? Like if you're in an apartment, it's unlikely you're going to have a room that is all of a sudden the size of a ballroom. That's just an unlikely occurrence. So some of this is a bit intuitive. You're going to have to know, okay, I'm in a residential area. These are going to be very small rooms. In that case, you may have a two-man clear if it's an especially small room. So then you would, you would call that out. So in this case, if you want to scoot up, let's go ahead and scoot up to the edge of here. Y'all just travel down until you hit the edge here. All right, so let's pretend here on the left you got a door, so you got coverage and everything. So what would happen is, Corporal Wynn, you would then face towards that door. You're now point man on that door because it's the one you're up against. The team leader position, who Private Brian's in right now, he would, move over. And then Private Courier, you would actually step back because he's about to open a door. You don't want to be in the danger area. The most important thing to always keep in mind is my body in the funnel, in the fatal funnel? If it is, then I need to bump back some. Now, if you had a very long hallway, say this is the only door in it, there's a lot of what ifs and CQB, so we can't cover every possible scenario, but let's say that, we had an opening down there, an exit door, and this was the only internal door we knew there was a room for. You can also do what's called going long. So you would call going long. So if Private Courier if he feels that he cannot hold proper or sufficient security where he's at, and while keeping security on the door at the end, he would say going long. So he would then push past the door that they're about to clear. He's not going to do it when they're clearing. Once that door is open, you can't cross it until someone's gone inside and they've cleared it and everything like that, right? It's a fatal funnel. So while the door is closed, he would say going long, and then he would go long, and he'd go past the door, and he would cover the exterior door. Now, the number 4 man in the stack, who's covering the 6, rather, he could, depending on what the point man calls out information-wise, he can either join the stack to assist in clearing the room, or he can go long with the now point man, or he can keep holding rear security if they don't need assistance with that. Now, generally speaking, you don't want to have anybody stop holding rear security. In the case that you have another team flowing in behind you, that's when he could drop his rear security. Otherwise, he's going to have to hold outside this door and keep rear security while these 2 guys clear. If it requires all 4 guys to clear it, then you're going to have to do it just like you cleared that hallway. All 4 of you would roll in there, and then that's what we're going to get into with these other rooms, where you're actually clearing a room and then you're going to have to come out just like a danger area, and then you continue your rolling T down the hallway from room to room to room. But generally speaking, the guy covering the 6, he's not going to break that unless he already, unless friendlies come up behind him, so he knows it's being covered. There's no reason for him to break that rear security at any point. Private Courier, are you itching?
Yeah, I did have something I would like to say if I could.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, when someone goes long, say on a doorway right here, I at least believe that it's generally a good idea to then cross-stack that door so that you have a gun barrel here when that door opens, just because my back is to the door, and I have no one plating or protecting me from that, like this angle inside the room. So if somebody was here when the door opened, they could just shoot me and I couldn't do a damn thing about it.
Yeah, well, you don't go long unless you're going long. If you can go long enough that you can get away from that angle, then that's when you go long. You can also switch over to the left side of the hallway to get out of that angle. So that's when you would do that. When you say going long, if the hallway is only so long that you can only go about this far, which does put you past the fatal funnel, but like you said, yeah, there's an inside angle that's going to shoot you from, then you're not able to go long. So that's just a call you couldn't make in there. You could not go long. So you can't going long means going, well past the danger area. You are past it. You are outside of its angles and, not in danger of it at all. Your job is just to keep your eyes on a door that's in front of everyone. The reason why you wouldn't turn back in with that exterior door is because now they have no exterior cover. Specialist McFalls is covering the rear. He can't cover that way too. So we will get into split stacking. We'll touch on split stacking. It can be a pretty tricky one to do correctly if depending on the room, but we will touch on split stacking, especially when we get into center fed rooms. All right, very good. Thank y'all for that. Go ahead and we'll just go straight down the line. Alpha, grab your team, and we are going to go ahead and do the stack up. Y'all go up there with your teams. Mike, go up there with the teams as well.
All right.
So one thing I was remiss in is the job of the number 2 man in stack, which is supposed to be the team leader in an ideal situation, is that he will use throwables. So in the event that the point man calls out, prep frag, prep flash, whatever it may be, the number 2 man in stack is the one who's going to do that. It is important that the number 3 man is paying attention, because if the number 2 man, for some reason, he doesn't have the throwable that's being requested, or, he's called up shooting at a guy, whatever it may be, he can't fulfill his mission, then the number 3 man will step up and do that. All right. Go ahead, call stack up, and then get your count.
Okay. Stack up, left side.
Copy.
For these demonstrations, by the way, we're just going to do rolling T going down.
Ryan, you're on point.
Roger.
Copy.
Yeah, Randy, take the point on this.
One set.
Reset.
Last one set.
Get that 45 off of Lawson's shoulder. That'd be off Lawson's shoulder, so like this, right?
The other 45.
Yeah, the other 45.
The doorway's to the front right, and he's on rear security.
Yeah, this is a.
Yeah, we're treating this as a flat wall for the sake of training right now. Yeah.
All right.
We'll get into
I
the.
wish it was a flat wall then. Fuck.
Here, I'll stand in the way. Here, it's a flat wall now.
All right.
We set.
Let's run through the call outs again.
All right, one set.
2 set.
Reset.
Last one set.
Copy. Pie. Got a long hallway. T's out at the end. Got a open doorway left, halfway down. Gonna start moving. Go turn left, moving up.
Yeah, rolling T.
Copy. Let me at this doorway.
All right, let me pause y'all right there, just for the sake of everybody else. So when we're doing this and we're going into the rolling T, once it gets called that we're going through there, we're going to take this hallway and we're going to start traveling down it. it's important to be speedy about it, right? We want all the rifles up front. We want everybody facing where we need to be facing as soon as possible.
So, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Are we just going to start moving in that T, or are we going to kind of like we did here, wait for everybody to get set within the T and then order the T forward?
Well, ideally, if you can go ahead and keep it flowing, that is what you want to do. You don't want to stop the flow within CQB. If it's some funky hallway that has some bins in it or tables in the way, whatever, it takes time to get in position. That's when you can call to start moving up at that time. Specialist Lawson, you're got some hot micing going on there.
All right, so let's go ahead.
You want to continue the flow. Specialist DOG, make sure you're online with the other guy. You're both on point now. There you go.
I was worried about the opening there.
I am assuming that opening also does not exist.
Yeah, we're just traveling down a hallway right now. That's all we're demonstrating. We're just going down a hallway.
Copy, moving down.
Okay.
All right, let's move.
Teeing off at the end here.
All right, yep. Go ahead and roll the T.
Copy. Go ahead and turn left.
And there we go. Now, at this point, the team leader is going to call whether you're going left, whether you're going right. We'll go ahead and demonstrate that, Alpha.
All right, which direction are we?
All right, let's move out left.
Copy. Moving up.
Very good. And we'll just hold it there. So everybody has an idea now that you've seen a team do it. But one thing I want to see everybody doing, and even when we're in a training environment like this, if you're absolutely unsure of what you're doing, go ahead and ask questions, because it's very important. CQB is very much about speed, violence of action. So we want to do everything correctly, and that's why you're going to ask questions if you're not sure about what you're doing, because once you go to do it, once you've committed to the action, you've committed entirely. Once you cross that threshold, you've got to go. You got to move with a sense of purpose. So going forward, let's make sure that if you have any questions, you ask them, because once you start moving, it's got to be speedy. It's got to be quick. You got to know where you're moving to. That's why we train this. All right, good job, Alpha. Go ahead and swap out with Bravo.
Come on out.
Now, real quick, while Bravo's getting over here, before y'all set up, I do want to note that occasionally you will have hallways that are so narrow that getting a rolling T with that third man also facing forward is possibly just not feasible to do. In that case, you would move along in your stack. It's not ideal, because at that point you only have one guy facing to the front.
Okay? Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, his ankle's all right?
No doubt.
Not service related. All right, let's move on. All right, Bravo, go ahead and call it.
Bravo, stack set left. Prepare for rolling T left.
1 set.
2 set.
3 set. Last man set.
Pie. I got a hallway. Open door to the left, 3 meters. T section front, 15 meters.
Execute rolling T left.
Moving.
Set. Move.
Martin, you're going to get up online with the other guy. Both of you are online with each other.
Bravo, halt. Bravo, danger crossing. We're going to be moving left. Go ahead and pie either side.
Pine right.
Pie. Clear.
Clear.
Let me pause y'all real quick. So the one thing to note is that when you do this, it is extremely important that both people are online with each other and they're clearing that corner immediately. Because if the guy is that's going left, say Piotrowski looks left, but Martin's not in place quite yet, he's not being covered, right? His back's to a completely open area. Might as well, it's a pretty dangerous situation. So it's important that they move in sync and they are covering those angles at the same time. All right, go ahead. Continue.
Wood, last man, moving. Going left.
All right. Go ahead and pick it up a little bit while I'll transition here.
T, rolling T left. All right, move.
Threshold.
Halt.
All right, good work, Bravo. All right. Thing to note is speed here. I'm going to break immersion for just a moment just to talk to you guys about a bit of a control thing in case you're not aware of it. If you're on PC, you can use your mouse wheel to change your walking speeds. So say you're walking, so I'm going the slowest right now. I can mouse wheel, and I can change my pace. Don't walk and jitter like this. It's very immersion breaking. It looks sloppy, doesn't look good. So cater your speed to what it needs to be to keep within the stack, right? You don't want to be moving like this and then having to sprint, in order to get with the stack or be in your position. So be malleable in your speed. And if you're on console, Special Significant Falls, help me out here.
Finger control.
Don't your fingers control all the controls?
It's pressure on the stick, how far you push the stick.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. If you're on console, you know that now. If you're on PC, you know that. I want to see y'all using that because it looks really sloppy when you're having to, sprint little dashes trying to catch up because you're walking at a snail's pace when you should be really picking up the pace. All right, Bravo, good job. Go ahead and swap out with Charlie.
All right, Charlie, stack left. Call it.
1 set.
2 set.
3 set.
Last man set.
Fine. Got a long hallway. I got a door to the left midway. T-junction intersection at the end.
It's
Copy. Rolling T will get online before that door. I'll execute it.
The thumb is a finger.
You're a medic.
Last man set.
Copy. Start pushing.
Davila, make sure you're online with your buddy. He's relying on you to cover to the left so he can cover to the right. If you're not there on time, you leave him open. That goes for anybody who's up on front here. All right, continue, Charlie.
All right, you guys ready? We're going to do a danger crossing here.
Okay, ready. Rolling to the left.
All right, yep, execute.
Last man set.
We're going to continue moving left. Execute. Rolling T.
Copy.
Now hold Walsh.
Oh.
We gotta wait for them to turn around on us.
Yeah, they got some distance between you there. All right, go ahead.
All right, let's continue movement. Hallway, I guess.
Yeah, hallway.
Yeah. All right. Good work, Charlie. Yeah, main thing to note, and this for all teams, when you are in that rolling T, you have two guys that should be shoulder to shoulder, but just, the only thing separating is that wall, or that hallway, rather. Make sure you're actually online with each other. Your buddy on your left is relying on you to cover that left side, as you're relying on him to cover the right side. So make sure that you're online with each other. All right. Let me go over. We're going to go over some rooms. Everybody come down here. Come over to where I'm standing here. So the point man, when he comes up to a door, say, team leader says, hey, we're stacking this door here. And you're going to go and clear this room here. You have what's called corner fed and center fed rooms. Corner feds are, center feds are very easy, right? You got roughly an equal amount of wall extending left and right when you go in. So the doorways roughly, it doesn't have to be an exact, perfect, but roughly in the center of the room. So a corner fed is the exact opposite. So the door is opening up to where the corner is of the room. So right here, you would see this, and when you're calling corner fed, you want to make sure you call corner fed left or corner fed right. It's very important that you distinguish which one it is, so the guys behind you know where they're going to be going, because whether it's a left or right makes a big difference on how you flow into the room. So in this case, you would have a corner fed left. So if this was a door right here, the corner, it's on the left side corner. A wall just extends. It's just a corner here. There's no actual, nowhere to actually go from here. So this would be a corner fed left. That's where the corner's at. Y'all follow me down here a little bit? This here is an example of a center fed room. Now, obviously, rooms that you're going to go in, if y'all need to get up on the sandbag seat, please feel free to do so. This would be a center fed room. You can see that there's roughly an equal amount of space in order to go out on either side of the room. And then if we go to this example over here that y'all went through in the mock hallway, this would be a corner fed. Specialist Wood, what kind of corner fed is this?
Left. Oh, sorry, right.
Corner fed right. Yes, corner fed right. He's the AR. He's not used to being point man. All right.
Sorry,
so,
Ross.
Yes.
Does it really matter what the room is, since you're going to go the opposite direction the guy in front of you goes? Does it matter?
It does, and we're about to actually get into why it matters, whether it's a corner fed or a center fed. Right now, actually, that's what we're about to do.
Copy.
All right, so we'll go on center fed first. Center fed's the more simplistic of the room. So let's have everybody. Let's get Alpha. Why don't y'all come over here? Stack up on the right side of this. You're gonna have to kind of get close. This is just for demonstrational purposes. Just so y'all know, if you're ever having to stack and you had a door like this, you would never, as Specialist DOG is gonna, or somebody's gonna have to end up doing anyways. Basically, you would do just as they are now. They've already done it perfectly. They would, maybe even one more guy would go across, but you don't stack on a door, okay? We don't want to stack on a danger area, on an opening, on a fatal funnel, anything like that. So they would leave that gap there so that it was open. All right, so say you're stacking here. Now, you can do two things on a center-fed room. You can, either clear it as they are right now, or you can do what's called a split stack. So Specialist Ren and Private Courier, go ahead and split the stack.
Push forward.
So let's say that, your point man's already pied the room. We're assuming that's already happened. Now you have a split stack. So this is what a split stack is. You split the team. Now they're stacked on either side of the door. Pretty self-explanatory. All right, let's go ahead and get y'all back over. I just wanted to show everybody what a split stack looked like from the outside. All right, so say we're going into a center-fed room. It's pretty decently easy to remember. You're basically going to alternate. So you're always going to go to the opposite of the other guy. Now, one thing to note is the point man's going to call when he's pieing, and then he's going to say breaching. And when he says he's breaching, he's going to say breaching left or breaching right. Now, if he says breaching left and he goes right, he's going to stay wrong. It's very important that once you cross this fatal funnel here, that if you fuck up, if you are wrong, stay wrong. If you go right when you said you're going left, keep going right, because if you cross back over here, the number 2 guy is running at lightning speed to cover your ass to the left, since he just noticed you made a mistake, and he's now going to go left to cover you. So don't just listen to what they say. You need to watch what they do. So situational awareness is key. So Specialist Ren, you say you're going left and you actually go right, then Private Courier would go left. You're always going to go the opposite so that you're covering people. Now, once you breach a room, I like to use an analogy like you're sieging. Imagine you're sieging a castle, okay? Now, this doesn't apply in every situation. We can get into the nitty-gritty details of it, but effectively, when you are sieging, especially if it's outside of a house and everything's clear, 360. Okay, let's assume everything's ideal for just a moment. You're effectively sieging the place, right? You're stacked up, you're sieging. Go ahead and get your tent put up, get the marshmallows out, the guys that are inside, they can't do anything. They can run out the door that you have guns faced at, but honestly, please do, right? That's easier for us. But they can't do anything. So when you're out here, take your time, pie correctly, communicate correctly, get all the the details fleshed out, know what you're going to do, make your plan. But once you cross this threshold, once you decide, hey, I'm breaching this room, violence of action has come into play. You have to breach with a purpose. Once you come in here, it is full speed. You are clearing your corners. And one thing we're going to talk about when we get into the next section, when we're going to have some live fire, is digging corners. So a lot of times you'll see people, Specialist Martin, if you'd move just a minute so I don't flag you here. Move to your right. There you go. So you come in and you go left. You have to dig that corner. You want to make sure that this corner is clear. Sometimes you'll have a table, maybe, right where I'm pointing my rifle. And if a man can hide behind it, or anything can hide behind it, it's very important that you actually come around and check that corner before assuming outward security. So that's what's called digging the corner. All right, Alpha, let's go ahead and have y'all demonstrate breaching this room. We're not going to split the stack. We're just going to breach it as your stack is now.